Yeah, hi there, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT, and these comments are for H. I'm looking at your essay right now, and I think I'm going to make some suggestions, but overall you have a pretty good sense of how to organize ideas, but I do recommend some changes. I would say this first part, you need to be a little more concise in your ideas. Let me give you an idea here. So you'll say, the reading passage discusses how about negative points of homeschools, and then maybe you don't need to do too much in the beginning. You simply need to frame the main points of both the reading and the lecture. So the reading passage discusses negative points of homeschools, and the listening passage discusses I think this is... The reading passage discusses negative points of homeschools, and the listening passage discusses the positive results. Then you might say something like, something like that. So the reading passage discusses negative points of homeschools, and the listening passage discusses the positive results from these non-traditional methods of instruction. So that would be my first change, is to make your first paragraph more concise. That way you can focus more on your body paragraphs. All right, let's take a look at your second paragraph. So we have... How about first, the reading passage claims that homeschools may help students to learn at their own pace, but it deprives them, so you're not repeating students again, of social interaction with others. At school, students learn and work in groups to solve problems. So let's take a look at what it's saying here. So they learn to interact and get along with other students. Okay. Okay. So I think we're accurate. Just checking your response for accuracy. How about the listening passage opposes the idea, however, suggesting that way you can combine these two sentences into one. How about the listening passage opposes the idea, however, by suggesting that the social skills are important, but there are other jobs, you might want to say here, which do not require social skills. You can say some students are shy by nature. So you have the comma in the wrong area. You put the comma here, and then you have your coordinating conjunction. So some students are shy by nature, so homeschools make students. You need a plural verb here because your subject here is plural. So homeschools make students feel more relaxed and how about feel? If you say environment, feel like they are in a, and then that would be correct. So they feel like they're in a more relaxed, and probably don't need to say this, and secure environment. So second, the reading passage argues that most parents have to work, and many times they lack the credentials and time to teach children. As a result, they are irresponsible parents. Now let's take a look. We've got to check the tone here. Is your tone appropriate? So let's look at what it says here. It says most parents, not all, most parents have to work and many times they lack the credentials and time to teach your children. Unfortunately, irresponsible parents are part of homeschool problems. Now it's not saying that they're all irresponsible. So your tone's probably a little bit too strong here. So maybe or maybe say, there may be irresponsible parents. The listening passage. At this point, because the ideas are different, you have to do something like this. This is a key juncture in your response. So then you say something like, on the other hand, the listening passage, because you're saying argues, right? So you can't say mentioned here, say mentions. The listening passage mentions the idea, not about. You need a connector here. The idea that teachers do not have the credentials is completely false. See, this is the part I'm having some trouble with what you're saying here. Let's go to the lecture here and see what the lecture is saying. It says the idea that teachers do not instruct homeschool students is completely false. So it allows a credentialed teacher to have access to students on a daily basis. Teachers guide and instruct students through the computer software there. So I don't think the reading passage is saying that the teachers aren't credentialed. Let's go look back at it. It's saying that the parents lack their credentials to teach, not teachers. So what you said is not entirely accurate here. You have to say the idea that parents do not have their credentials is not a serious problem because students have access to credentialed So you had, the way that you wrote it wasn't exactly what I consider a correct paraphrase or a correct summary. So then you might say the listening passage mentions the idea that parents do not have credentials is not a serious problem because students have access to credentialed teachers. Then you might say here, who guide them. Okay, so here I need to make one more change here. On the other hand, the listening passage mentions the idea that parents who do not have credentials is not a serious problem because students have access to credentialed teachers who guide them, you might say. Through the social network, computers, technology, and textbooks. Okay, the next one. Finally, the reading passage discusses that you can't say that is prevents. You have two verbs there, so you have to get rid of one of them. The reading passage discusses that homeschools prevent students from being responsible, being on time and deadlines is a positive result of public and private schools. And the responsibility translates to students, put apostrophe here, future careers, according to the author, you might say, so we know where this is coming from. Then say, but, according to the listening passage, homeschools make students more independent. Need a connector here. How about in that? They learn and find answers by themselves. They are more responsible for their future careers. It's pretty good. So in conclusion, the reading passage discusses homeschools on 3 points. Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about all that. I think you've done a good job here. This part here is not really needed. So this is a little bit wordy. You can simply just say in the conclusion, in conclusion, the lecture as is evident opposes the 3 points in the reading passage. Something like that. You've already discussed these things in a lot of depth here, so there's no need for that conclusion that you just gave there. All right, so let's take a look at what we have here. So with yours, with your score, you're going in the right direction, but you had some problems with sentence formation and word choice. You have a limited range of sentence structures and so on. So you have to work on that a little bit. You misrepresented some information there. So I'm going to put you at about 3.0 out of 5 or 20 points out of 30 on this particular practice test. So your score fits into this range. Now if we look at the rubrics here, the integrated writing, it puts you at 3.0, so your score here on the midterm exam is 76%. All right. Anyway, thank you very much for completing this. Now, in order to improve your writing, I have some recommendations. One of them is you want to continue practicing in the grammar part of my course. You seem to have a lot of problems with your basic sentence structures, so that's really where you want to start. So you probably should start by taking the grammar pretest, see what kinds of problems you're having, and then you can go from there. All right. Thank you.